The sun burned like a molten coin in the vast Texas sky, hanging low as if daring the horizon to swallow it whole. The land stretched wide in endless dusty mesas, stubborn shrubs, and rolling plains dotted with the skeletal remains of old cattle that never made it through droughts. Coyotes yipped in the distance, their voices carried on the desert wind. Out here, the world was raw, merciless, and every man had to carve his fate with grit and steel. At the edge of this wilderness rode Caleb Hart, a rancher with the build of a man forged by labor and the silence of one who had buried more than he could speak of. His broad-brimmed hat shadowed eyes that had seen war, famine, and the fleeting kindness of strangers. A rifle lay across his saddle, his hand resting near it, not for show but out of instinct, because the frontier didn't forgive carelessness. The trail beneath his horse was beaten thin, winding toward a settlement called Gallows Creek, a town known for its crooked sheriff, smoky saloons, and the kind of outlaws who treated murder like small talk. Caleb wasn't riding there for whiskey or women. He was riding because word traveled faster than bullets. And the word was that Ezekiel Crow, a name that sent shivers even into men who feared nothing, had been spotted near town. Crow wasn't just another outlaw. He was the kind of man who left nightmares behind him, ranches burned, families slaughtered, women broken. Caleb had sworn never to go hunting trouble again, not since the war ended and his ranch demanded his hands. But trouble had a way of finding him, and this time, it wore Ezekiel Crow's face. The saloon. By the time Caleb reached Gallows Creek, night had swallowed the desert, and lanterns glowed in windows like small fires warding off shadows. The saloon was alive with clinking glasses, ragtime from a battered piano, and laughter that had too much fear behind it. Caleb pushed through the swinging doors, his boots echoing against the wooden floor. Inside, the air was thick with smoke and sweat. Men hunched over poker tables, their eyes sharp, their hands near their guns. Women in frayed satin dresses drifted between tables, pouring drinks and pretending not to hear the vile things whispered in their ears. At the bar stood Sheriff Harlan Briggs, a man whose badge was more decoration than duty. He was stout, his face flushed from whiskey, and when his eyes landed on Caleb, they narrowed like a snake coiling. "Well, I'll be damned," Briggs slurred, "if it ain't the rancher himself." Caleb Hart, back from his hole in the prairie. Caleb didn't rise to the bait. He ordered a whiskey, neat, and let it burn down his throat before speaking. "Heard Ezekiel Crow's been sniffing around your town. Figured I'd see for myself." The piano stopped. Conversations hushed. Even the girls froze. The name alone was poison. Briggs chuckled nervously. "Rumors. Just rumors. Ain't no Crow here." A voice cut through the silence. Female, shaking. From the stairs above. "Please don't." Heads turned. A young woman stumbled into view, her wrists bound, her dress torn. Tears streaked her dirt-smudged face as she looked into the crowd of men below. Caleb's gut twisted. Behind her, stepping from the shadows of the upper floor, came Ezekiel Crow himself. Tall, broad, his black duster swaying like wings of death. A scar ran from his cheek to his throat, jagged like lightning etched into flesh. His eyes were pale, almost colorless, and they found Caleb across the saloon with the cold recognition of one predator meeting another. The room seemed to stop breathing. Crow shoved the girl forward, making her cry out. Caleb's hand twitched near his revolver, but froze when he saw what Crow held in his other hand. Silver revolver aimed directly at her temple. Now. Crow's voice was slow, oily, like tar dripping from a can. "Wouldn't want any heroics." "Heart, not yet." Old wounds. The crowd parted as Crow descended the stairs, dragging the girl by the arm. Every step echoed like a coffin nail. "Funny thing," Crow drawled, "I ride into this pisshole town thinking I might find a drink. And what do I see but an old ghost, riding in right after me." Caleb Hart, the rancher who once played soldier, the man who thinks he's got justice carved in his bones. Caleb's jaw tightened. "Let her go, Crow." Crow laughed. It wasn't the kind of laugh that showed joy. It was the kind that made your skin crawl. "Oh, I'll let her go. In time. But first, you and me. We got debts, don't we?" A memory flashed in Caleb's mind. Smoke screams. His brother's ranch aflame. Ezekiel Crow's gang had done that. Caleb had arrived too late to save his kin, too late to bury them proper. He remembered the smell of charred wood, the silence afterward. Crow's grin widened, reading his silence like scripture. "Ain't no use pretending you forgot. You remember every scream, every drop of blood. That's why you're here." The saloon's piano player slipped out quietly. Women backed away, And Briggs, the supposed sheriff, pretended to fumble with a bottle to avoid eye contact. "Tell you what, Rancher," Crow said, his revolver pressing harder against the girl's temple, making her whimper. "Tomorrow, high noon, outside this saloon, you and me. You win, she lives. You lose." He yanked the girl closer. "She dies screaming, just like your brother did." The morning after, Caleb barely slept that night. He sat in a corner of the saloon with his whiskey untouched, his revolver laid on the table. The girl, her name was Sarah Whitfield. He learned, sat across from him, hands trembling as she clutched a blanket. She was the daughter of a farmer who'd been ambushed by Crow's men. "They killed her father and dragged her here. You don't have to do this," Sarah whispered, her eyes red from crying. "He'll kill you. He kills everyone." Caleb's gaze was steady. "He's been killing long enough. Someone's got to stop him." She bit her lip. "But why you?" Caleb's eyes flicked to the revolver. "Because I've already buried too many people Crow's touched. If it ends tomorrow, it ends with me." Outside, dawn painted the sky blood red, as if the heavens themselves knew what was coming. The whole town stirred uneasily, whispers crawling like snakes through the streets. Gallows Creek had seen shootouts before, but nothing like this. By noon, the street outside the saloon was packed, windows filled with pale faces. Horses snorted nervously at the posts. Even the sheriff had sobered up enough to hover near the edge, sweating through his shirt. And then came Crow, duster billowing, spurs jingling, his pale eyes locked on Caleb. The girl's voice cracked from behind Caleb as he stepped into the street. "Please don't." But Caleb walked forward, his hand brushing the worn handle of his Colt. Crow stopped 10 paces away. His grin was slow, deliberate. The world held its breath. 2 men, 1 town, 1 sun burning above. The showdown had begun. The air in Gallows Creek was still so still that even the wind refused to move. Dust hung heavy in the street, suspended like it was afraid to touch the ground. Every man, woman, and child watching from doorways and windows knew they were witnessing something that would be carved into the marrow of frontier legend. 2 men stood in the middle of Main Street, separated by no more than 10 paces. Caleb Hart, the rancher who never asked for war, but carried it in his bones. Ezekiel Crow, the outlaw whose name alone brought silence to saloons. And the sun above them, high and merciless. The dual Crow's hand hovered near his silver revolver, pale eyes never leaving Caleb's. He grinned, showing teeth that seemed too sharp for a man. "You ready to die for a girl you barely know, rancher?" he sneered. Caleb's jaw clenched. "Ain't about her, ain't even about me. It's about stopping you." Crow's laugh rang through the street. "I've killed 100 men who said the same. All of them bled the same. All of them begged the same." The crowd shifted nervously. Sheriff Briggs licked his lips, praying silently that someone else would deal with the mess. When bullets started flying, then a crow cawed on the rooftops. Crow's fingers twitched. Caleb's Colt cleared leather. For a heartbeat, no one could tell whose gun had fired first. The explosion echoed like thunder in the canyon. Crow staggered back a step, a red bloom spreading across his shoulder, but he didn't fall. He roared, firing wildly, bullets tearing splinters from the posts and kicking dust at Caleb's boots. Caleb dropped to one knee, returning fire. His bullet tore through Crow's thigh, sending the outlaw crashing to the dirt. The crowd gasped, but Crow wasn't done. He laughed even as blood poured from him. You think you can kill Ezekiel Crow that easy?" He raised his revolver with shaking hands, aiming at Caleb's chest. Caleb's shot was faster, a clean, merciless crack that sent Crow sprawling lifeless into the dust. His pale eyes stared at the sky, wide and empty, as if surprised death had finally caught him. The silence that followed was thicker than smoke. Aftermath. For a long moment, no one moved. Then the saloon doors creaked open, and Sarah Whitfield rushed into the street. She ran to Caleb, eyes wide with disbelief, her voice trembling. You killed him." Caleb holstered his Colt slowly, staring down at Crow's body. "No, he killed himself a long time ago. I just finished what was cumin." Briggs stumbled forward, his face pale. "Hart, you realize what you've done? Crow's men's got a gang. They'll come for you, for all of us." Caleb's eyes lifted to the horizon, where the desert shimmered with heat. "Then let M come. Crow's reign ends here." The townsfolk erupted into murmurs. Some cheered, some crossed themselves, others slipped away in fear. But one thing was certain.